Hello everyone, this is Carrie from Parton's Heritage Homestead, and we are a Mediterranean homestead. We've had a date today, so let's get you caught up on what we were doing today. Okay, so we've had temperatures that are between upper 80s, lower 90s, and then in between we've had storm after storm after storm. So what ends up happening is everything that we have that was like cool weather plants, we've already had our lettuce, it bolted. Well, our kale was the next one to bolt. So, but it was no loss because we went and harvested every bit of kale we had, and honestly we did not lose out. I have 7 bags that are 4 bags that I'm fixing to freeze, and then 1 is going in the fridge. So we got 5 1-gallon bags full of kale. I have a good stock of spearmint in the dehydrator, some anise hyssop in the dehydrator. Both of those are for flavoring on black tea. We went and pulled every weed out of our gardens, and then some of the things like the herbs, we went and planted new plants in place. We're hoping they're gonna make it. We have some squash that we're going to be doing this week that I am going to put out there. All the beans that I had placed out there a week ago, they're already sprouted up, and so we're going to have back-to-back beans. Y'all. And now I'm at the process of having to do the Dijon mustard, and I told you I would do part 2 on the Dijon mustard. So that's what we're going to do now, and then after that, for supper tonight, which I'm not going to do a video on this one, I've already done it before, but we are having eggplant parmesan in a unique, different way, but that's what we're having for supper, and probably a side salad. So now I'm going to do the Dijon mustard with you, and I'm going to put all this away so I can get caught up onto what I need to do next, because we're going to be canning this mustard as well. Alright y'all, I'm going to give you a quick run of what we ended up doing today. This was a bed that where I had full of oregano. Well, I've had to replace my oregano. So, because over the winter, it got killed out. So I had to replace this one. This is reset. There's our chive. Now over here is where I was harvesting off the anise hyssop. Now this is the one that I am using on tea. I thought I had lost this thing. Thank God I didn't, but it was really long, so it needed to be harvested, and then I turned around dehydrating it. At some point, I'm going to let this just grow up and basically reseed itself. Over here, what started out just a few plants have flourished into an amazing bunch of spearmint. I have so much spearmint coming out of here, it's crazy. So I have been harvesting after harvesting, and then what I'm ending up doing afterwards is dehydrating it. And again, this will end up being pushed back because, well, we're staying in this bed and it can keep flourishing over and over again. This bed is now cleaned out. This is the one where the kale was right there. However, we ended up clearing it. So, but this is the one that I replanted with seed. I still have, as you can see, some weeds to go here. But I have new plants coming up right here, right behind it. So we do have more coming on. And then over on this side, same thing, all the way down. All of this took off like crazy. Now I need to get those weeds right there. But we have a new stock of beans, as you can see. This was a squash bed, and this is where we had kale. It's also gone. Now I do have some more squash in here, And I will show you the squash I did get from this. We are going to be able to make a meal out of it, that's for sure. So, and then here we cleaned up these beds, and we're getting beans off of this. We've had one eating from this bunch already, so we've got that going on. And now I'm just collecting what I can to get enough to can with it. We have cucumbers coming on. I'll show you that over here. So this trellis is actually working beautifully. So we definitely will keep this in a raised bed. Then we have our eggplant coming over through here. We have our peppers, and then our crazy tomatoes, y'all. Then over here, this one here has been cleaned out a lot. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in here yet, but I'm definitely going to do something. Right now we have a Jamaican sorrel in there, and I have a couple of bush beans, and then our onions at the end remaining. Here I cleaned these beds out. Back there it was where we went and I did a picking of turnip greens. We definitely will be having some of that. We have enough for a meal. And then I just cleaned out these. These are our bunch of onions. This is my thyme, and there's some oregano in here. There's some more anise hyssop right there, and then our basil, our cilantro, and then we have a little bit of dill with those tomatoes there. And then over here I cleaned out these beds. We have some mammoth jalapenos here. I have some purple basil, some more peppers in the back, and I have more basil over here tucked in with our tomatoes and miscellaneous. And that is my rosemary, and that's the smaller of it. So far this is what we have, y'all. And this would be our honeybees. Now these are highly active. Now I'm not going to stick around here too much because they're actually doing their thing. They're cooling off because it's been hot here. But these honeybees are amazing at this point, and they are pollinating everything. So right here is where we have our grilling station. We have our arbor right there and all. So we were looking at putting our apiary. We're setting up a new apiary right here instead of way in the back there by those gates. We're going to bring it up here because we think it'll benefit more for them and for us out in this area. So we wondered, would they bother us if we're grilling out, but I honestly don't think so. So we're going to set it up here to make it easier to maintain for everybody. So today's not full of giggles, but it's hot, y'all. It's really hot, but I got work that had to be done, and that's exactly what we're doing. So now we got to get the mustard, and we got to get that canned. So we're going to go ahead and get this started, and I'm going to do this in sections before I put the whole thing inside of a food processor. Okay, so lighting is not exactly perfect here. Now I have a magic bullet, and I'm going to use that to take and puree this mustard up because I want to try to get it as smooth as possible. And I'm going to do something different with mine because it can be a bit grainy, and I don't mind that grain, but I want to see if I can try something else to get it just a little bit more smoother. So I'm going to start with actually grinding up some of this, or well, pureeing it up basically inside of here, and I have to do it in sections. I'll show you what our mustard looks like after it's been sitting basically all night long. This one, it's been 24 hours actually, so, but here's what our mustard looks like. Actually, I'm going to see if this is how tender actually this is. It crunches pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and get this pureed up. I'm going to do this a little at a time and see what we can do here. Now this is supposed to be getting to a certain amount of water, but that doesn't mean we're going to actually use all of that. That depends on our humidity as well. So I'm going to take some of this inside of this cup. Put the rest of that right there. Set this aside. I'm going to go ahead and mix this up. Now I'm going to put it in a separate bowl, and then I'm going to finish with the rest of it. So I'm just going to pop this on top. Place this on top of my magic bullet. And I will be right back. Okay, so yes, I'm going to end up dirtying dishes, but now I'm going to also take this mix. The reason I'm using the magic bullet is to get it a little bit more finer than this, or than this would do. And now I'm going to add it to this because we're going to have to mix it with the water before we cook it, basically. So I'm going to process this again, because I want to try to get it as smooth as possible. And y'all, this absolutely smells just like Dijon mustard. And I will tell you, the yellow mustard, what I used last year, I used brown, and it was super bold, a little bit too strong. So, and then I had another one which was a yellow mustard, but it wasn't like this. This is more yellow, and I used a different brand. So I won't be able to try this right now until after it's processed and sat for a little bit, but it looks like a whole lot better than what I had last year. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of this, and we will be right back. Okay, y'all, so the next step is we have 2 2/3 cup of water. Now I will tell you, this does not mean we're going to use all this. We're just going to use it enough to make it like oatmeal. But other than that, if it means not using all of this, don't. I would suggest do a little at a time, because I do know the last 2 times that I've made this, I have not used all of my water. So take it a little at a time. And so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to set my food processor up now, turn it on, and I'm going to run my water through my spout when need to. Once I get this mixed, we'll be right back. Alright, y'all, so I had to go to my blender because the food processor just wasn't powerful enough for this. You really need something that's going to mix up this mustard. So I had to turn to this. So once I get the consistency I need, I will be back. Alright, y'all, so here is my mustard, and this turned out beautiful. Now it is kind of grainy. I could sieve this and see if I can get it smoother, but honestly this tastes amazing like it is. So now I did not use all of that water, but I have also known that while this cooks, because we got to bring it up to a boil and then simmer it uncovered for 5 minutes, so I could lose some of my liquid. Now right now we have a lot of humidity, so this could have something to do with it. So I'm going to put this on a stove now, bring this up to a boil, and I'm going to bring it to its process before we start canning. In the meantime, I'm going to get my little 4-ounce jars ready, the lids, and the canning pot to water bath can this. Okay, y'all, so our mustard is heated up through. Beautiful Dijon color. It's still got some grain to this, but like I said, I'm going to be okay with that, really. So I'm now going to need 4-ounce jars, and I'm going to be filling them to 1/4 inch headspace. So I'm going to pull my jars out of my hot water, because I want hot jars to go with this. I've got my lid simmering right now, so I can turn around and seal off my jars, and we'll be right back. Okay, y'all. So I'm just going to go ahead and start filling these into 1/4 inch headspace. And then I'll have to debubble this. Man, this turned out gorgeous as far as color too. I absolutely do believe now that I see this, mustard seed definitely makes a difference, y'all. A good mustard seed will give a good Dijon. So I'm glad I invested in the one that I did. I'll let you know which one I used. Yeah, I just got it on Amazon, but make sure I get this 1/4 inch headspace too. And then I could end up getting a little bit too much, and I don't know, this might end up being more than 6 4-ounce jars, but I don't have them all the way filled up yet either, so I'm gonna go through and fix it up in a minute. The spiciness will get to your eyes, I will tell you that. Okay, so yeah, we'll see. I know I don't have enough for another jar, but I gotta go through here and measure all this. Alright, so we'll be right back. Alright, y'all, I did have a little less, so what I'm going to end up doing is actually just setting this one in the refrigerator with the lid on it once it cools off. The rest of these, though, we're going to can. So I'm going to take and clean my rims off after I made sure that they were 1/4 inch headspace from the top. I'm going to clean them off, and I'm using vinegar to clean off my jars. I'm going to make sure there's nothing on my lids. Just like all the other ones, this is really important. And then I'm just going to go ahead and seal them all off with a lid that I have simmering in this little pot over yonder here. And this one ain't going to take any time at all to process. It is water bath canning. I think the longest point on this one is going to be getting my water up to boil, a rolling boil. So now I'm just going to seal all of these off with the lid. And then come back and seal them finger tight with my rings. So I'm going to go ahead and get this and we'll be right back. Alright, I got all of my jars sealed. So for my altitude, I'm going to be doing this for 10 minutes. If you live in a higher elevation, then use the ball canning book to add what you need to. But for me, it's 10 minutes. So once I get this to a rolling boil, I will process this for 10 minutes and that's it. We'll pull them out after 5 minutes of turning it off, removing the lid, and putting them up, and we'll leave them sit for 12 hours or overnight, basically. So that's all I'm going to do here. And I'm going to put my lid on it, bring this up to a boil, and that's it, y'all. Okay, so it is said that if you leave them sit for a couple weeks, it kind of milds up the flavor. So the one that I just had that was almost there but not quite the can, that went in my refrigerator, and that one's going to be sitting there for maybe 2 weeks or so before I even use it. In the meantime, I have another one that I've already opened, and I'm going to be using it instead, and then we'll eat that new one. But I'm curious as to see the flavor, and I will show you the bulk mustard seed that I am using for this one. Okay, it's a company named Gel, I guess, G-E-L mustard seed. I'll let you see that up close. But that's what I have, y'all. And let's see, this is 6 pounds of mustard seed, so I can do a lot of Dijon, or if I wanted to, just make homemade yellow mustard. This looks like it's going to be great. And then the wine that we're using is a Pinot Grigio. So this, between this and this mustard seed, everything was beautiful. So now I'm just going to turn around and get this finished off in the canning pot, and we will be right back. Alright, my friends, we have our canner has done reached its 10-minute mark. Now I pulled the lid off of it, turned the heat off, and I'm just going to leave this sit for 5 minutes before I pull my jars out. And good timing, because we just got a good storm warning, so I'm fixing to turn this off until the storm passes through. And there, my friends, is our Dijon mustard. Look at the color of this. It looks just like Grey Poupon, basically. So, and it's got so much resemblance to it, only homemade without the preservatives. So I'm going to get this put up. And that will finish off our day today for today's video, y'all. I am going to be doing supper once all these storms pass by. Hopefully you got an idea of how to make your own Dijon mustard. And honestly, I probably am going to make me another batch of it, because that's not going to be enough. We do go through a lot of that, and it had been, I made a year's worth, and we have 2 jars left. So I'm definitely going to make some more of this. So until next time, I hope you have a blessed day, and we will, I'm not exactly sure when we'll be back, but you'll know when we're back. So until next time, hope you have a blessed day from Parton's Heritage Homestead.